Yuka, the war in Iran continuing to rattle global energy markets. Fears now rising of even wider supply disruption after Yemen's Houthi rebels entered the fray.
Well, Sharon, over the weekend, the Iran-allied militants fired rockets at Israeli targets for the first time since the current conflict started. And that raised fears that another crucial maritime choke point, the Bab-el-Mandeb Strait at the southern end of the Red Sea, could now be under threat. The Houthis previously attacked commercial ships passing through that waterway as part of their support for Hamas. If the group decides to weaponize Bab-el-Mandeb again, the global energy market could face a double whammy of both the Strait of Hormuz and the Bab-el-Mandeb effectively being shut. While Hormuz carried about a quarter of global seaborne oil trade prior to the war, Bab-el-Mandeb accounted for about 12%, so they're both significant. In recent days, Saudi Arabia has been stepping up efforts to reroute some of its crude oil shipments to the Red Sea port of Yanbu, with its east-west pipeline reportedly reaching its maximum capacity of 7 million barrels a day. That effort would be upended if El-Mandeb were to be blocked as well. And there's more at stake than just oil and gas. Many undersea cables also pass through this area, accounting for a significant amount of daily internet traffic. And 10 to 12% of global maritime trade passes through that waterway, which is part of a key shipping route between Europe and Asia through the Suez Canal at the other end of the Red Sea. Avoiding this route means ships would have to go all the way around the southern tip of Africa. Let's have a listen to one analyst.
I think we're at an inflection point. I think with the Houthis joining, they sat very, very patiently for almost a month before joining the fray. With the Houthis controlling and potentially preventing oil from moving in the Red Sea, we are at a point where we have not been before.
Well, oil prices rose this Monday as Donald Trump made a renewed threat to blow up Iran's energy infrastructure if it continued to block the Strait of Hormuz, and Houthi rebels opened a new front in the war. International benchmark Brent settled around $114 a barrel, slightly easing after jumping to nearly $117 earlier in the day. The US's West Texas Intermediate rose past $104 a barrel. Global stock markets diverged. Wall Street finished on a mixed note, with the Dow closing above the flat line after swinging up and down all day. Sharon.
And the war's effects, Yuka, also be increasingly felt in Africa, notably Nigeria.
Yeah, Nigeria is Africa's top crude oil producer, but has long had to import refined fuels. A new refinery that has only reached full operational capacity this year was aimed in part at reducing that dependence on imports, but Nigerians are still facing massive price hikes at the pump as fuel market reforms and debt to international investors add to global turmoil, undercutting the country's recent advances in refining capacity. Brian Quinn reports.
In Lagos, Nigeria, uneven electricity service means keeping the lights on often requires a portable generator. The ongoing global energy shock means the price of a haircut in this barbershop is now up 50% since a month ago.
Some of them are not ready to comply, but they don't have any choice. By the time we explain to them, they need to comply.
Nigeria is Africa's largest producer of crude oil, but for decades it had to import refined products like gasoline. The country's first refinery, the Dangote facility 100 kilometers east of Lagos, finally came fully online in early 2026. But it hasn't spared the country's consumers a massive price spike. Gasoline prices in Nigeria are up 65% since the start of the war, the steepest jump on the African continent. Executives say they can't source enough crude oil locally to feed the Dangote refinery, relying on imports to make up the difference as the war in Iran drives crude prices ever higher.
So we deal in the Suez Canal, let's say 950 million barrel cargoes. We get 5. We could easily get 13.
But there's more to Nigeria's price disparity with its neighbors. The recent deregulation of the country's fuel market under President Bola Tinubu, including cutting fuel subsidies, was cheered by foreign investors. But financing the country's oil infrastructure has meant that, by some estimates, nearly a third of its oil production goes towards paying debts to international players like Western oil majors and banks. The costs of transport and some food items have already doubled in recent weeks, sparking street protests. Meanwhile, Nigeria has no strategic fuel reserve, and the government has not yet begun setting one up.
Brian Quinn with that report, and that's it from the business desk.
Yuka, thanks so much for that. Yuka Woye there with tonight's business news. Up next.